Andrew Wiggins has had one of the biggest career turnarounds in recent NBA history. In just a few years, Wiggins has gone from a player labeled a draft bust by many fans to a legit all-star and NBA champion. He didn't flame out of the league like plenty of other players, but he definitely didn't live up to the sky-high expectations back when he was on the Wolves. Let's backtrack. Back in 2014, Wiggins was one of the most hyped up prospects ever, and he was regularly drawing comparisons to legends like Kobe and LeBron. Wiggins had one of the best high school mixtapes filled with plenty of crazy poster dunks. At 6'8" with a 7-foot wingspan and a 44-inch vert, he looked like a star player at the forward position in the making. After having a good year at Kansas, Wiggins was selected with the #1 overall pick by the Cavaliers, but he was immediately traded to the Wolves in exchange for Kevin Love. At the time, the Cavaliers had just added LeBron, and they didn't have the patience to wait for Wiggins to develop, so they chose to trade Wiggins for an established NBA star instead. For the Wolves, it appeared that they had just landed their franchise centerpiece. In the first few years of his career, it certainly appeared so. Wiggins averaged 17 points per game his first season in the league and took home the Rookie of the Year. His scoring average would continue to improve, and by his third year, Wiggins was putting up just under 24 points per game on 45% shooting. While Wiggins was putting up big stats, many critics considered these to just be empty volume stats on a bad team. Unfortunately, the Wolves were not close to making the playoffs in any of Wiggins' first 3 years, despite having very talented teammates like Karl Anthony Towns and Zach LaVine. And Wiggins' game was easy to criticize because despite his scoring totals, Wiggins was a horrendous defender and rebounder and a poor outside shooter. Bleacher Report even ranked him as a bottom 5 defender at his position back in 2017. With the Wolves continuing to underachieve, they traded Zach LaVine for Jimmy Butler to land a legit star that could get them to the playoffs. Butler made the Wolves a much better team, but his presence on the team wasn't good for Wiggins, as Wiggins' scoring went down from almost 24 a game to just 18 a game. And not only did his scoring go down, but Wiggins' abysmal shooting and defense made him a poor fit next to Butler. The Wolves did make the playoffs that year, but they were quickly defeated by a great Rockets team in just 5 games. After butting heads with Towns and Wiggins, Butler demanded a trade very early into next season. The Wolves traded him to the 76ers in a trade that centered around getting back Robert Covington and Dario Saric. The Wolves could have gotten back more assets in a Jimmy Butler trade, as the Rockets offered 4 first-round picks for Butler, but the Wolves wanted to make the playoffs again, so they were hoping that good supporting pieces like Saric and Oroko could get them back into the postseason. With Butler gone, this was Wiggins' chance to prove that he could be the superstar player he was hyped up to be in 2014. Instead, Wiggins averaged just 18 a game on a horrible 41% shooting in the 2018-19 season. At this point, it was Wiggins' 5th year in the league, and it was clear that he hadn't lived up to the hype at all. He was regularly compared to legends like Kobe, LeBron, and Tracy McGrady, and it was clear that he wasn't close to those guys' level. At this point of his career, Wiggins had nobody to blame but himself. The Wolves may have not have been perfect, but he was given plenty of opportunities to play at a star level. He had all the physical tools to be a great defender, but he lacked effort and focus, and he was nowhere near as aggressive on offense as he needed to be. This is why Wiggins started to get the empty numbers label, which is often given to players who produce big numbers but don't impact winning at an elite level. The next season, a decision was made that would completely change the trajectory of Andrew Wiggins' career. At the trade deadline, Wiggins was traded to the Golden State Warriors in a swap for D'Angelo Russell. Wiggins would average 19 a game in the 12 games he played for the Golden State Warriors after the trade, but the real growth from Wiggins would happen the following season. In the 2020-21 season, Andrew Wiggins would improve across the board. He only averaged 18 points per game this season, but he would become a much better all-around player. After being a below-average 3-point shooter for most of his career, Wiggins shot 38% from 3 on a high-volume 5 attempts a game, becoming absolutely automatic shooting off the catch. He also shot a career-high 48% from the field this season. But most importantly, Andrew Wiggins turned himself into an elite defender with the Golden State Warriors. In fact, he had the 4th highest defensive role plus minus amongst small forwards that season. The Warriors gave him the job of guarding the other team's best wing scorer, and he usually did a fantastic job. That season, Wiggins learned to leverage his size, length, and elite athleticism into being an amazing on-ball defender. After being labeled an empty stats guy, Wiggins had finally turned himself into one of the best two-way players in the league. Unfortunately, the Warriors season was still a disappointment as they would finish as just the 8th seed and fail to make the playoffs after losing in the play-in tournament. But the next season, the Warriors will come out the gates blazing, starting off a dominant 29-7 and possessing the league's best record. Andrew Wiggins' elite two-way play was a huge part of the Dubs' success. Once again, he was the Warriors' top wing defender, and on the offensive end, he was the second leading scorer on the Dubs behind Steph the first couple of months and shot a career-high 39% from 3. Wiggins' fantastic play on both ends earned him his first All-Star selection of his career. And in the playoffs, Wiggins was a huge part of the Warriors getting all the way to the finals and winning the championship. In the finals, Wiggins has easily been the Warriors' second best player behind Steph. In the finals, Wiggins led both teams in rebounds and shots contested, while ranking second in blocks, second in fourth quarter scoring, and he held Jason Tatum to just 36% shooting in the entire series. His best game was in a pivotal Game 5, where he scored 26 points and pulled down 13 rebounds. After being a weak rebounder for most of his career, Wiggins absolutely dominated the glass. He also got plenty of clutch buckets, and he locked up Tatum in the fourth quarter. And in Game 6, Wiggins dropped 18.6 boards and 5 assists as the Warriors won the 2022 championship. And that's how Andrew Wiggins went from an underachiever to NBA champion. Andrew Wiggins' career turnaround shows that it's not always about how you start, but how you finish. Wiggins may have been an underachiever at the start of his career, but thanks to his hard work and commitment to the game, he was now a winner. What's even more impressive is that the Warriors managed to go from the worst record to NBA champions again in just 3 years. Click this video to learn how the Warriors were able to make this incredible turnaround in such a short amount of time.